All right, so first of all, Vincent, thank you very much for speaking with FandomWire today about Phineas and Ferb and all of the other cool things you have in the works. Obviously, Phineas and Ferb has been one of those Disney shows that has now crossed over for more than 2 decades almost. What is it like to have not only originated that character as a teenager, but then taken it all the way through to today?
Not express to you like how much of a fun ride and also like a surreal experience it is working on a show like Phineas and Ferb, because I've been fortunate to work on some really good fun stuff in my
Yeah.
life, but I never take that for granted as a performer. Like, it ebbs and flows when you're an actor or any kind of artist, really, like it totally does. And so the fact that I've gotten to work on something that's meant enough to so many people, that we now have people like you said, I originated this character when I was 13 and now I'm 32. And so there are people my age who have watched this show and have introduced it to their children. Like, it means
Hmm.
enough to them that they're sharing it with their family now. And it's so rare to be a part of something like that with that much influence and with that much meaning to its fan base. And so the fact that we get to come back and do these new episodes and hopefully do more episodes in the future, obviously, if people, if people tune in and like our stories, I try my best not to take it for granted, because this is, I mean, I still get crazy excited when I see, we have Phineas and Ferb walk around characters at Disney World and Disneyland. And like, you know, uh, truthfully, like, I could work on a lot of really cool things in my life, and I hope that I get
Hmm.
to. Um, but it is so rare to have like your character walk around at a Disney park. Like, that is so crazy to me still, in all the best ways. Like,
Hmm.
I that makes me so happy. It's so special to me. So to get to be here talking to you about this in 2025 is, I never could have expected this.
Yeah, and I'll cop to the fact that I am one of those people who waited in line to meet Phineas and Ferb back at Hollywood
Oh, wonderful.
Studios
Yeah, Hollywood Studios.
just yeah, just last Christmas. So yes, definitely one of those characters that draws quite the crowd. I think we waited an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. Very
Yeah, because
popular
they
characters.
they only bring them out for special events right now. Like, they brought them out
Right.
for the Jolly Hollywood. I assume that's where you saw it.
Yep, that is exactly where.
And I got to see them. They came back for a Disney Channel night at Disneyland a year
Mm,
ago, and I went and they were doing like a Phineas and Ferb dance party, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I was getting like emotional. Like,
mhm.
it's music from our show, like songs that I've sang as this character, this huge part of my life, playing at Disneyland. Like, that is so meaningful to me. Like, I'm a huge Disney person anyways. Like, I
Right.
love going to Disney, and Disney's a huge part of a lot of people's lives, but it's been a huge part of my life. And
Mhm.
yeah, hearing like a song I sang playing on Main Street, like, that is unbelievable to me. It's so cool, man. So thanks for meeting the characters at Christmas. That's really fun.
Of course. And then obviously you work a lot with Dan Povenmire and Swampy Marsh. They're very
Yeah.
hands-on and very online. Can I tell us about how that relationship is when you're going into the recording booth, not only to work with them on the creation of the show, but also then seeing how they're interacting with the character and what they want out of you?
Yeah, well, what's amazing is that I've worked with Dan and Swampy so long now. It's truly like we're, members of each other's family. I see them not just at the office. We call each other and talk and catch up, even when the show wasn't being, we weren't back in production again. I know there was a period during COVID, especially early on, when I was literally talking to Dan every single day. Like, we were talking for like,
Hmm.
an hour and a half, catching up and just trying to stay present with each other, through obviously that really crazy time. But um, the fact that I've learned so much about voice acting, so much about animation, so much about comedy writing from these two people who are so incredibly good at it. And I've had the good fortune of, they've really given me a lot of advice that goes beyond just animation, when it comes to the entertainment industry. And I've spent full days with them, um, in the writers' rooms, and shadowing them when they go to post production and when they go to the edits and when they go to, the sound mixing. And I cannot speak highly enough of, like, obviously I've worked with a lot of showrunners, and being a showrunner is like one of the hardest jobs in the industry. It is so difficult, the amount of things you have to keep in your orbit at once.
Hmm.
But just watching them work, even after all this time, it still blows my mind the amount of things that they're able to do, they're writing it, they're voicing these characters, they're writing music for these characters when they go home at
Yeah.
night. And they're overseeing such an amazing, talented team of other writers, and making sure that the tone of the show stays true to these characters that they created. By the way, like for any of your listeners who don't know this, I mean, they wrote the show together in 1993.
Yeah.
Like they created the show a year after I was born, and they didn't sell the show for 13 years. And that's how long they've had these characters in their lives. And so I have learned so much from them, and they are really the heart and soul of the show. And it's fun now because so many people have been able to connect with Dan, obviously through TikTok.
Yes.
He's really embraced the power of the internet, which is awesome. And I always love seeing him interact with fans online. It's cool that he does that.
Well, and now that you guys have started backup production, I know at least 40 episodes have already been greenlit. Kind of
Yeah.
what is the process like on this new season? How is it different than what's come before? And what's most exciting for you as a vocal performer?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. That's because I would love to answer it. But there are a couple things that are different, which
Mhm.
is obviously, uh, when we first recorded, we've always recorded by ourselves because doing group records is so rare. But one thing we did not do the first time around with our show was a storyboard driven show originally, which means that all of our scripts were storyboarded first, and then the scene would fill out around them. And so what we would get as performers is we would get dialogue scripts without all the action of the scripts. And so when I would go into studio, like
Gotcha.
obviously I would do all my prep work, but then I'd go into studio and they'd give me this big book, like this giant um, book that had storyboards on it, and it would fill in the information for me. And
Hmm.
as a performer, it's decently difficult, especially on a show like Phineas and Ferb, where we're building things that don't exist and we're talking about things that are, very scientific. It, it was information that I was getting right before I walked into the booth to be like, where am I located in this scene? How far away are the other characters? How big is the item that we're building? And this time around, we're a normal scripted show, and obviously the storyboards come after it. But
Right.
so for me, that is a huge help just in preparation, is going in and
Hmm.
knowing every single detail of everything that I can do. And um, that's been a huge advantage for me going in. And on top of that, because we have done 4 seasons before this, our writers have really taken the opportunity to explore stories and characters in ways that I can guarantee you we did not do the first time around on the show. And I think it's some of the best stuff we've
Cool. I'm
done.
very
Like
excited to
I,
hear
I
that.
yeah, I do think it's some of the best work we've ever done. And we've given focus to characters who didn't have as much focus on them. We've got stories that really just explore ideas and people in a way, like, although we're obviously obeying the Phineas and Ferb format of it being summer, and us having these great inventions, and Candace is trying to bust us, we've done it in a way that I feel like is true to the original series while also being new and exciting and offering more depth to these characters. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense, and it's so
Cool.
exciting to
Yeah.
hear as a fan. You also have done a lot of other voice work outside of the Phineas and for world. Our readers are especially big on DC and Marvel stuff, and obviously you
Yeah.
voiced Jason Todd several times now. Kind of tell us about how it's different when you go to prepare for somebody as iconic as a Jason Todd character versus something like Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, I mean, the obviously the biggest difference is the content
Yeah.
of what these characters are dealing with. I mean, Jason Todd is dealing with really serious, the most serious, most heavy of topics.
Hmm.
And those sessions were really exciting and really informative because um, DC has a very specific style, like the DC animated movies. They do, and
Yep.
they have a performance style that is specific to them, as there would be if I were to go in and perform and do anime. Like that's a different performance
Right.
style than it is when I do pre animation like Phineas and Ferb. And
Hmm.
so getting to work on something so dark and so gritty and brooding and emotional, those sessions were very taxing but very exciting. Because I love Batman graphic novels in general. Like those
Yeah.
are my favorite graphic novels. Like I have numerous graphic novels on my shelf, but most of them are Batman ones. And so the fact that like I was really excited when I did Batman Under the Red Hood, just because I think that like that
Yes.
I'm like really, really proud of that movie. Like that, I think that movie is
Hmm.
really, really good.
It is. It's
Um,
excellent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love everyone's performance in it. I think it's written so well. But then I got even more excited when I came back to do Death in the Family because they let me play Red Hood as well. Like I got to also
Mhm.
play Red Hood, and Red Hood is super iconic too. And I love Red Hood's material in the comics. And like I'm not like a massive like Funko Pop person. Like I don't like collect a ton of Funko Pops. But I had to get myself a Red Hood one. Like the moment I played Red Hood, I was like, I need a Red Hood action figure. Like this is so cool to me that I get to play
Mhm.
this like iconic character. And I'll go to Comic Cons and I see people dressed as Red Hood all the time. I'll get to like sign the Red Hood masks. It's so cool. Like it's really really fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because I literally just bought some Pop Funkos today. So,
That's
yeah,
awesome. Which ones did you get?
I picked up a new Jurassic Park one. They just put out Velociraptors like hatching out of an egg, and I was like, I have to have this.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah. We just got. I mean, I'm allowed to say this because they've already released it, so I'm allowed to
yep,
tell you about it. But there's finally going to be Phineas and Ferb Funko Pops.
I'm aware. Yes, my wife
I
is very
and
excited.
and those will be ones I will buy, obviously, because I definitely want to have those on my bookshelf at home. It always shocked me we didn't have them. Like I was always so
Mhm.
sad that we didn't have those because I always wanted those. And obviously there are like some really obscure, like never heard of certain characters that are like make it to Funko
Yes.
Pops. So it was always a bummer we didn't have them. But I've seen the designs already. Like I've already seen what they look like, and I'm really
Mhm.
excited.
We're pumped to pick them up. I guarantee we'll have
Yeah,
5 or 6 of them at least. Now,
perfect.
something else that you're already working on as well, and it's coming out, I believe, next week, is Everybody Still Hates Chris. Um,
Yeah,
what was it like to see a show that you were on in live action get converted over to animation and still ask for your involvement?
yeah. I mean, part of something that is very odd that happened to me at two times
Mhm.
in my life now is there was overlap when I first started working on Phineas and Ferb. It was the last two seasons of me working on Everybody Hates Chris, and so
Hmm.
that happened, in my teenage years when I was like, like mid teenage years, and then a couple years ago, now all of a sudden I'm working on Phineas and Ferb, and another Everybody Hates Chris project. Everybody still hates Chris, and it was like a very like odd moment for me where I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy that this is happening a second time in my life." Um, no, I love the people I got to work with on that, and I got to play like six different characters in that. And I don't play my same character. I don't play Greg on that
Yeah.
show. But what was awesome is they were like, Vincent, do you want to be involved in this show? You are a professional voice actor. Like, would you want? I was like, absolutely, I would love to come in. Like, and they're like, "Can we just hand you a ton of characters and see what you do with them?" And I was like, "That is like one of my favorite things to do as a voice
Mhm.
actor is do a bunch of utility stuff and to do a bunch of additional voices." Like I've been lucky to work on, random additional voices here and there of other shows where
Right.
I have no idea what the character looks like until I get there. And then they go, "This guy." And then you're like, "Okay, that kind of changes everything I thought I was going to do for this voice." And that happened to me like six times on Everybody Still Hates Chris, where I'm playing like a newscaster, so I'm doing, my version of like a Tom Brokaw, and then I'm doing like, I'm playing like a psycho Celtics fan. So I'm like, like a scummy like Boston Celtics guy, and I got to do a wide variety of stuff that I feel like will be hard for anyone to pick out who didn't know I was playing them. And that was my goal. Is I was like, I want to hide myself as best as possible in all these characters and get to play a huge variety. So it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I love the original show, so it's definitely
Thank
exciting
you.
to get more of it back. And it's always been one of the funniest shows, in my opinion. So for you
Thank
guys
you
to
so
all
much.
get to make more, again, it's very cool to see some of these shows transcend decades where there's still a desire for them. There's still very much people want to re-explore these characters. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess my big question to kind of wrap things up a little bit. Obviously, you have been on Phineas and Ferb for a long time. You guys have done a lot of fun crossovers. Um, what is a crossover that you hope that you guys are able to pull off in this next phase of this show? I know you guys have already done Star Wars. What else would be a fun franchise for you guys to cross over
I
with?
know, and trust me, I would love if we did an Empire Strikes Back Star Wars one. We don't
Mhm.
have anything obviously coming up that is that, but I love Star Wars. Like Star Wars is my uh that is like my biggest fandom. I have
Hmm.
like an Empire Strikes Back poster like over there. It's like the Japanese version of the poster.
Yep.
And one that I would love to do that I know we can't do. And that's the trouble is like obviously all of these big franchises are owned by different entities, so it's like so hard to
Right.
do. Is I would love to do Lord of the Rings because I love the Lord of the Rings, and we have enough people to make up a fellowship. Like we have all the
You
people
do.
required,
Yeah.
and I feel like Doctor Doofenshmirtz would make a perfect Smeagol Gollum. Like he would be fantastic. Like he's like built to play that role. I feel like Dan Povenmire is built to play our version of Smeagol or Gollum. But if there was one that we could do, because I know that Disney owns it at least, is
Mhm.
I'd love to do Indiana Jones.
Honestly, that was where my mind went when I was thinking about the question. Like, I wonder if he'll go with Indiana Jones because it is such
Yeah,
a perfect fit for you guys.
it totally makes sense. I mean, that's the adventure of a lifetime, which is yeah, I think like the tagline of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think that might be, and
Mhm.
we could be hunting down treasure and replace so many of the characters with our characters,
Mhm.
and save an artifact in Danville. Like it would be great.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you very much for your time, Vincent. I mean, I'm so excited to get Phineas and Ferb back in our lives. Like, it's
Thank
definitely
you,
one of
Alan.
those shows that I watch all the time, even just on reruns. It's a comfort show, and I know a lot of people feel that way.
Thank you. That truly means the world to me. This show has been a really big part of my life, and I care about it so much. And so, getting a chance to bring this character back to all of you guys and to all your readers, it makes me really, really happy. So, thank you so much for taking the time, Alan. I appreciate it.